10. Welcome to the Vault Excel. This commentary is pertaining to Harmony Montgomery. Her mother, Miss Suri, has attended court, and it was a probate hearing for the deceased child. She's trying to uh, seek a security bond for the child, her role as being over the estate of the deceased child, and also declaring the child deceased. Let me read this to you in case you're curious, because you're going to hear it in the court conversation from the judge. Thank you so much for joining me. A probate bond is a type of court bond issued on the performance of an executor of the estate of a recently deceased person. It essentially acts as a guarantee that the executor of an estate will act according to state laws and the terms of the trust or will of the deceased. Should the executor fail to comply with state laws or act in a way that violates the terms of the will or trust, the deceased family members, heirs, and other stakeholders can file a claim against the bond. Should the claim prove to be valid, the surety who sold the probate court bond to the executor will reimburse the party who filed the claim according to the terms of the bond. Like other surety bonds, it is the responsibility of the executor or administrator to purchase one. So how does the probate bond work? Much like other surety, they are a contract between three parties. The first of the parties is the principal, or the one who is responsible for purchasing one. This is the executor or the administrator assigned to the estate of a deceased person. The second party is the obligee. In the case of a probate surety bond, the obligee is the heir to the estate. This is usually a member of the deceased family, although it can refer to anybody who has legitimate claim to an estate. The third party is a surety. The surety sells the bond to the principal and is the one who reimburses the obligee should a claim be filed. I don't know much about all this. I just brought you the information. Feel free to Google to verify what a surety bond is, but you're going to hear it mentioned here because I was trying to figure out when I listened to this content earlier, why would she need a bond if she's seeking declaration of death of her child? And also, she plans on having a lawsuit against someone. That's not mentioned during this hearing, as you will hear from the judge, the commentary between the judge, Ms. Suri, and also her lawyer. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $, the Ganji 129 Cash App, stickers and chats, and welcome to the live stream. I may also put a little conversation in this live stream about Carly Russell as well. But for right now, we're going to talk about Harmony Montgomery. Her mother attends court. WMUR TV is the source of the information. Thank you for joining me.
And we're here on a petition for administration of the estate of the person presumed dead pursuant to RSA 55318 and 55319. And we are here on that petition submitted by the mother of Harmony Montgomery, Crystal Sori. We also have by WebEx from the New Hampshire Department of Corrections in Concord, to allow for attendance of the father, Adam Montgomery. This is an intestate estate, so service was given on both mother and father, and by publication. So I'm going to start by asking just the parties in the courtroom to identify themselves for the record, starting right here.
Good morning, Your Honor. Sheila Koppel, I'm counsel for Crystal Sori. This with me today.
State your name.
Hi, I'm Crystal Sori.
Sorry about that brief intermission. I can never play content without there being some type of information in there. Thanks for joining me.
And is Montgomery attending?
No, ma'am. My name is Hope Wojcicki on behalf of New Hampshire State Prison for Men. He did refuse. There will be a written memo that goes to the major and then to the commissioner.
And sir, can you spell your last name for me?
WIENCKOSKI.
WIENCKOSKI? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. You may be excused. if you want to,
May,
all right, thank you, sir. All right, so we're gonna proceed then with the petition, now we won't, Mr. Montgomery won't be attending. So, Attorney Caulfield, it's your burden, to demonstrate that, by clear and convincing evidence, that Harvey Montgomery is presumed to have been killed as a result of some catastrophic event, and the body, has not occurred.
Thank you,
So,
Your
you
Honor.
want to proceed by officer's verdict?
Certainly.
All right, so who are you gonna be the offer on behalf of?
I'm going to be making an offer on behalf of Ms. Sari.
All right, Ms. Soren, we need to put you under oath. So we're gonna proceed on offers of proof. And what this is your attorney will be making an offer on your behalf, in order to satisfy the elements of the statute. If she says anything that's incorrect, you have a duty to correct record. I may have a few questions for you, and we'll proceed from there, okay? So please raise your right hand. Do you swear any testimony you will proceed the truth and the things and counties for truth?
I do.
Go ahead, Attorney.
Thank you, Your Honor. As a housekeeping measure, I do have a copy of the return of service if the court would like to see a copy, and I have the tear sheets from the paper.
Okay, I'll take the copies and we can do the sheets and we can see if any. Okay, thank you for your comment.
As for the evidence that Harmony is in fact deceased, Your Honor, I would request that the court take judicial notice of the fact that Harmony's father, Adam Montgomery, was recently convicted of murdering Harmony. And more importantly, within that process, Adam confessed to a lesser charge of purposely and unlawfully removing, concealing, and destroying her corpse. In addition to being convicted of her murder, Adam was also convicted on that lesser charge of mishandling her body. Further, Kayla Montgomery, who was a key witness in that trial, also testified to handling Harmony's dead body. These acknowledgments by the two people who were last known to have physical custody and care of her should serve as sufficient evidence for the court to accept the presumption that she is in fact deceased. Further, no one has seen this child since December of 2019, when it is believed that Adam murdered her. That's over 3 years ago that she has not been seen by anyone. With respect to appointing Crystal the administrator, she is the child's mother and next of kin. She has priority under RSA 553(2) as her next of kin to administer the best position to do so. Therefore, we request that her petition be granted and that she be appointed accordingly. No one else has filed a petition, so she's the only petition that is currently pending before the court.
All right. I am going to require an authenticated copy of the jury verdict from the Superior Court. And your sake, you can go up here. And so we're gonna need that I'm gonna need that within, say, 5 days. I'll make my final order after that. I do have some questions concerning moving forward. And the issue is whether you satisfy the burden of the right parent to independence. The other piece of this petition for state administration is whether Crystal Story is the appropriate administrator. And that includes submission of bond, that includes moving forward under Administrative Order 7 and Rule 101 of the probate rules. We'll get into that in a moment. So with respect to the bond, we filed for an expedited hearing because the intent was to file wrongful death actions. Is that right?
That's my understanding, yes. I'm not handling that case, however, that is my understanding from the attorney Cigar.
Okay, and that's the attorney, and what's the name of the attorney?
Attorney Russ Riley.
And are those in Massachusetts, New Hampshire? I couldn't tell from your.
I believe New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Yes.
It's a wrongful death action,
Yes.
or it's anticipated, I mean, that's.
It will be, yes.
All right. So, a couple things in this story. If I appoint you as administrator, you're going to have duties to the court, and I need to make sure include providing a bond. So, has there been any offers or any indication of the amount that you expect to recover or will you recover? Your action, if you haven't gotten that far.
I don't believe we've gotten that far. I don't, there's not a set amount yet, I don't believe. Russ hasn't spoken one.
Okay, all right, so I'm considering then, setting, this is not, I've worked on other cases involving wrongful death actions of this nature. The numbers can be all over the place. However, at least to start, I'm gonna ask for $10,000 perpetuity. Are you able to post that to an insurance company, getting that perpetuity bond?
Okay, I can do that.
All right, so before,
Brief intermission. A lot of legal wranglings and conversations pertaining to lawsuits and so forth.
the other issue is because, this state is essentially being open, to pursue a wrongful death action, I'm assuming Harmony had no assets.
No.
That because it's to pursue a wrongful death action, it is subject to the requirements of the Mile 1, the probate court rules, and rules, administrative code 7. So it will require, status reports as to the status of the wrongful death action. The first one will be due in 6 months, okay?
Yes.
With the dates that will be due in the final order.
Okay.
And one last issue with respect to that action. It goes to trial and there's a verdict, a judgment, or there's a settlement. You have duties to the state, but also to the court. And under Circuit Court Rule 88, I review in every case, in every state case, all attorney's fees. So, there may be a settlement, for example, you can see ongoing issue in many cases, there may be a settlement in either Massachusetts or even if it's in Massachusetts or New Hampshire. The gross amount, meaning the total amount, before paying the attorney's fee, needs to be deposited in the state account. Then you report that to the court, and your attorneys submit their fee, their billing statements. And you're not to release those billings, but they're going to take as a fee until it's approved by the probate court. Okay? And so what that means is the entire amount into Harmony's estate account, the estate on Montgomery account.
Yep.
Then the attorneys will file a motion for fees, and then the court will approve that amount.
Okay.
And so that's subject to not only our statutes, but also common law. And if there's a contingency fee and the Superior Court signs off on the contingency fee, under not only our statutes, 55614, but also Cody versus Martell, 103 and H110, the court needs to review those fees. And expenses charged by attorneys. And that's just an additional read, if I were to appoint you as our reasoners. So, Attorney Caulfield, do you expect to be assisting with the state administration through the final closure, or when is?
I plan to be counsel through the closure of these statements.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and reach down and see, that you copy the jury verdict. I'll proceed, the district orders as soon as I possibly can, and some commission on the bond, and also submission of the bond, but also on, submission of the effective tax. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Surprise!
All right. Let's go over what actually happened here. WMUR-TV is the source of that information. We're not going to go to NHPR for an update pertaining to what you just heard. The mother of a 5-year-old who was killed in 2019 and whose body has not been found asked a New Hampshire probate judge on Monday to declare the girl legally dead and to be appointed as administrator of her estate. Now, as you heard in this commentary, the child does not have any estate, but I'm assuming she has to go through this process in order to file a wrongful death lawsuit against whomever. Crystal Story took the first steps in preparation of a planned wrongful death lawsuit against the state regarding her daughter, Harmony Montgomery, more than 2 weeks after Harmony's father, Adam Montgomery, was convicted of fatally beating her and other crimes. Story's lawyer told Judge Beth Kissinger in Nashua, that Adam Montgomery's second-degree murder conviction, plus his admission of guilt to lesser charges that he moved her body around for months afterward and falsified physical evidence, was enough to result in legal death declaration. Kissinger did not rule immediately, asking for court paperwork, including the jury's verdict, a probate surety bond from Story, which would guarantee she would fulfill her duties under the law as administrator. I am her warrior, basically, Story said afterward of her daughter. WMUR-TV reported, everything I do is for her, quote unquote. A WebEx connection was set up at the Men's State Prison in Concord for Adam Montgomery to participate in the hearing, but he refused to attend, a prison official said. Montgomery also had declined to show up at his 2-week trial. Montgomery and Story were not in a relationship when their daughter was born in 2014. Harmony Montgomery lived on and off with foster families and her mother until Story lost custody in 2018. Montgomery was awarded custody in early 2019, and Story testified she last saw her daughter during a FaceTime call around Easter of that year. Story eventually went to police, who announced they were looking for the missing child on New Year's Eve, 2021. In early 2022, authorities searched a home in Manchester where Montgomery had lived and charged him with assault, interference with custody, and child endangerment. By that June, Montgomery also was facing numerous charges related to stolen guns, while his estranged wife, Kayla Montgomery, was charged with perjury for lying to a grand jury investigating her stepdaughter's disappearance. She has been serving an 18-month sentence and is expected to be paroled in May. In August 2022, Attorney General John Formella announced that investigators believe Harmony was dead and that the case was being treated as a homicide. Harmony Montgomery's case has exposed weaknesses in child protection systems and prompted calls to prioritize the well-being of children over parents in custody hearings. Kathy McCormick, the Associated Press, NHPR, is the source. Thank you all so much for joining me. All right, let's talk about this subject matter. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining me. Hello, everyone in the chat. Where do I begin? Excuse me. Mind the queen a little bit. Obviously, this is the protocol to go to court to ask to be, I guess, to get the surety bond, to be the administrator of the child's estate, although she doesn't have an estate, and also to follow the next step, which will be, declaration. She has to go through this process to have the child declared dead first, then follow after that into suing someone. Attorney gave information from court that the child was moved around by Kayla Montgomery and the then father, Adam. He has pled to a charge of abusing a corpse, which would mean he had access to a corpse, meaning the child was dead. Same thing Kayla said, although she implicated him as the culprit. Some may believe that, some may not. Some may believe, they both are involved. You're entitled to your opinion. And I do believe she deserves more time in prison, let me say that. I do believe they will follow through and get the declaration for death. I don't think that's going to be a problem. 2, who is Crystal going to sue? Now that's what's going to be interesting. She's going to sue Adam, possibly not. He's incarcerated. He doesn't have anything. Kayla, could be. Civil suit. She could file a civil suit. You were there. You knew all along my child was ill, abused, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people do win civil suits versus, trial cases. So will she sue Kayla? Because Kayla is expected to get out of prison in May. Okay? Now, number 3, Department of Human Services of Massachusetts. The same court judicial system that gave the child over to Adam in New Hampshire, because we're talking about 2 different places, okay? I'm assuming she'll probably sue Kayla, and she'll probably, more than likely, the head honcho, DHS. As I told Chris Storms yesterday, the government doesn't pay itself, the state isn't going to pay itself. It's just common sense. Why does she feel like she should be able to sue the state? She had an opportunity to raise her child 3 times. And as you heard in this commentary that I read to you, the child was passed around like a football, one home after the other. Mother 3 times, foster care families, to only be placed with the father. Naturally, he didn't show appropriate documentation in court to show where he lived, where he worked, income, no verification of criminal background, nothing. Just showed up, took her. Many people are going to always question that. Why did he go before the court acting as if he wanted to take care of his child when we get information he was abusing the child and then later unalived the child? Why take her in? Now, some would say, well, he did it for monetary gain, get whatever he could get. Possibly the child was drawing a disability check for her, eye troubles and her physical stance, because they said she was not the best, did not have the best mobility. So maybe he knew all that. Okay, I can get some money, I can get some food stamps, whatever. He and the wife were, drug addicts. So one could say that was the motivation to go to court, was to profit down the line, down the road. But I think I would go ahead and agree with that. But the point is, when you're dealing with the Department of Human Services and you're talking about people giving up the children, taking the children back and forth, wranglings, court dates, hearings, so on and so forth, showing up, not complying to the regulations to get the child back, protocol. Why would the state give you money in a lawsuit when, one, you gave up your child originally? Okay? Missouri gave up the child at 2 months old. And then she was able to retrieve the child later down the road. So you can see that the child had an unstable life. And as I always tell people, it doesn't matter what people say on TV and news broadcasts. You don't really know what was going on behind closed doors. You don't really know the state of the child's mental state, physical state, unless you were there. And I won't doubt the child had some mental problems. She had developmental problems, eye trouble, mobility issues, and who's to say she didn't have mental issues, okay? Because she's being moved around. You're here a day, you're here a year, you're here 2 years, now boom, you're going back to your mother, then you go back over here, then you go to this foster home, then you're back with your mother. That's a lot for a child. It was Russian roulette from the jump, from the womb, out, born, and shuffled around. That's all that happened with this kid, just shuffling. Now the mother wants to have the child declared dead legally so she can go forward with claiming a wrongful death, because she's got to show, I'm the only person vying for this child. I'm the only one claiming this child. So she has to go through these legal wranglings in court, for the surety bond and all this, to file later the suit to someone for the death of her kid. And that's where this becomes dicey. You're all entitled to your opinion if you think she deserves monies or not. I don't think she deserves any money. That's me personally. Because You lost your child 3 times. That's just too many times for someone to be giving the child back to you. Giving and taking, giving and taking, giving and taking 3 times. To me, this is rare that a state would do this 3 times with a parent. That's just me personally. A parent, relative, whomever. That's just a lot of times. And as I've told people, there is not going to be payment. Okay? There's not going to be payment by the state. I don't see the state paying anyone. I really don't. Hold on one second. I've got a brief interruption here. Hold on one second, everybody. Sorry about that. right. Sorry about that brief intermission. So sorry. 46 viewing. Sorry about that, everyone. Sorry. Neighbor. She couldn't speak English, so, we were translating via the phone. Sorry about that. Someone in the chat feels like she doesn't deserve. Okay. That's why I said everyone's entitled to his, her opinion. But you have to think from a legal standpoint that you originally gave the child up because you couldn't take care of the child for due to a drug issue. You wrangled back and forth with the court 2 other times, DHS getting the child back. So a total of 3 times. That's a lot of times to be dealing with DHS. I'm sorry. That's just too many times for my taste. Like I said, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone is entitled to ask for their rights depending on, the allegations against you or the circumstances for which you either gave the child up or the child was removed. But no matter what, whether you gave up the child once and then they gave you the child back and then you gave the child back or they came and took the child, you're still talking about 3 instances. That's just too many times to be dealing with DHS. And people are going to wonder your motivation, your ulterior motive, which we would say it's money, because you feel like the state owes you money because your baby daddy killed your child. But the point remains is that bad things do happen. And we see this a lot. And the state was going back and forth with you and foster care families, which is sad. And you heard the foster mother testify in court that she got tired of dealing with the state and whatever was going on between she and the state raising Harmony. And then she also mentioned that the child had issues, which she didn't go into on the witness stand, which, I wish she had, because as I said before during my commentary, a lot of things were glazed over in the case. There was just a lot of glazing over testimonies. A lot of stuff was left open-ended. And people want an understanding when you're at trial, okay? And I think there are a lot of things that were open-ended, a lot of things were glazed over. And a lot of people still feel as though Kayla should be doing more time in prison because we really don't know what happened to the child. And as you've seen with the Howington case here in Knoxville, Tennessee, Rebecca Howington being accused of killing her 5-year-old daughter and then found guilty last week. She lied so many times, as I said during the live stream. I'm at almost 10 lies counted during interrogation for 2 days. To me, it's no different than the Harmony Montgomery trial interrogation. It's the same thing. You're making up stuff, making up stuff, making up stuff, making up stuff. So what you always have to remember about a version, it's just that. And if the authorities have found you to be a liar during interrogation, during grand jury proceedings, why am I going to believe your last version? That's why I don't put any stock into what Kayla said in court about how the child died. We don't really know how she died. We don't know how she died. We don't know where she died. We don't even know where she has been discarded. Now, fast forward. Trial is over. Adam didn't go to trial, which shows he never gave an F about his child or himself. Didn't show up to this hearing. You have a officer of the court appearing on his behalf to give information that he wasn't going to be attending, excused from the court. This goes to show you. Doesn't care. So this man has said, yeah, I carried the body around. Yeah, I had access to a dead kid. But he's going to tell you he killed the kid. But you can use deduction. Yeah, you killed her. That's why you had a dead body, in your vicinity, your peripheral. You're never going to get the truth about anything. And I understand this lady wants to have this child declared dead, as she should. But as far as getting money, suing someone, because the bigger entity would be the Department of Human Services of Massachusetts and also New Hampshire, because New Hampshire, they also involved because they also signed off at the end in investigating allegations that the child was being abused by her father. So you have two states involved. Child shuffling around in Massachusetts, then placed with the father who's from New Hampshire. Somebody makes the call, uncle, whomever, they come out, play reindeer games, and at some point, I'm assuming they shut the case down, or I don't know. Even to this day, I don't even know if that male social worker closed that case. But some of us are starting to believe this is probably when the unaliving of the child came, possibly October. I don't know. Because that's the whole point. You're never going to get the truth. Miss Suri, let me say this to you. You had ample enough time to get your life together in seeking custody and rearing your child. You chose not to do that. You chose drugs over your child, okay? That's just the bottom line. And some would say, and I'm going to say it, you really have a lot of balls. You're very brazen to sue any entity. Because in the beginning, that was your child, your responsibility. You decided to not raise a child for whatever reason 3 times. That has nothing to do with anybody else. That has nothing to do with anyone, because everything started with you. And naturally, you give your child up, or your child was taken, you assuming that somebody's going to care for your child and do well for your child. But as you see, she was not, sadly. And as I said before, we don't really know how she was treated in the foster care homes or how many she was actually in. They're never going to tell you any of that, the state. The state garners the state. Just like even with the government, they garner themselves. So they're not trying to tell anybody anything. Welcome, Tamara. Thank you for joining me. They're not going to tell you what you want to hear. Everything dealing with the state department is usually, it's privilege. Privacy, because you're dealing with minors. They usually only tell you things when something hits the fan, such as death. Sadly, oh, well, we'll tell them now, how many times we're investigating a family, how many times the child went back and forth with the family, which, you heard in testimony at the Adam Montgomery trial, but it's too late. It was too late. So should she get monies for the death of her child by the biological father? Should she be suing the father? Can't sue him. He don't have any damn thing. He's in prison. Kayla, she can sue her in a civil lawsuit. And then there's DHS, Department of Human Services, CPS, whatever you want to call it, of Massachusetts, and also New Hampshire. She can sue both because the judge in Massachusetts gave Adam the baby without documentation of anything. And then New Hampshire went, saw that it was a bad situation, put in his notes, children are at risk, but he still left all kids in the house with Adam and Kayla. Generator, no generator, finally got lights on, knew that the house was foreclosed, knew that the sheriff would be eventually putting them out if they didn't willingly leave. Sir, you knew all that. And that's what's wrong with the system. There's no accountability dealing with the Department of Human Services. You rarely get the information that you want to hear pertaining to a case. You never hear the name of the worker who worked on the case or the supervisor. They're never going to reveal those names to you unless somebody decides to go below the belt and throw their names out there. But you never get any responsibility from anybody saying, yes, I made a mistake. Yes, I should have had those children removed. And what's sad is that this little girl, as young as she was, it didn't even make any sense for her to keep going round and round and round in all these different places. But this is why I kept trying to tell people, you really don't know what the hell was going on with this kid. You don't know what she was mentally going through. She could have been acting out. This is why you have problem children later, because it starts in the womb, born, who's raising you, who these people got around you. All of that factors who you are and how you turn out. And I won't doubt that maybe she became difficult living with this lady. She said, yeah, she was potty trained. Crystal said she was potty trained, but yet we hear testimony from Kayla, oh, the child kept using the bathroom on herself. This is why he unalived her. Whatever, you know, believe what you want. But I won't doubt this child had some issues, and rightfully so. You know, not just the physical things that were wrong with her, eyesight and mobility issues, mental. Mom says the bio mom has no grounds to sue anyone, period. Okay. She was acting out because nobody showed her love. All they did was use her for a pawn and money. Yeah. See, and that's why I'm trying to explain to people is that it doesn't matter what you keep hearing about. I liked the child. I took care of the child. The people who adopted her brother wanted her. That doesn't mean anything. That's not how things work because somebody wanted the kid. She's going back and forth, in and out, in and out, in and out. You understand? In and out, in and out. The father had all rights to her, but there was also supposed to be due diligence to verify that he was capable of taking care of her. See, that's where there's a problem with Adam. That judge didn't say, when you come to court, I need verification of this, and this. I need a verification of work history, where you live. Is it stable? Do you rent? Do you own? How long you've been there? Are you married? Do you have other children? Have you had any other dealings with DHS? Do you have a criminal background, felony? Are you on probation, parole? That's all the things you're supposed to be asking somebody who's standing in court saying, I want custody of this child. I don't care who they are. He didn't do that. So the judge is wrong for that. Now, people have said in the chat, he's retired, this and that. I don't know the circumstances of that. But the point is, he will probably never stand account. The mess in New Hampshire, that DHS office, they won't stand account. And you see that worker, he's working for courier service work now, postal service work. And I thought, as dry as he was in court testifying, I thought, hell, I wouldn't want you handling my damn mail. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want you handling my mail, let alone a whole kid. It didn't seem like he had any empathy testifying. Just reading a script. I'm going to go to my community page. I'm going to put up a poll, and then we will read the results together during this live stream. Thank you for joining me. Go over here to YouTube right quick and put up a poll, and let's see how you all feel about the wrongful death. Who is she going to sue? And will she win? Most people don't. Because as I said, the state doesn't pay itself, the government doesn't pay itself. And you rarely hear any parent who's lost custody of their child getting a payout because their child died while in foster care or adoption. As you saw with the West Boys, that bio mother called herself trying to get money from the state. She and her father, everybody's getting their own private attorney to sue for millions of dollars. The state is never going to pay you. And you can believe that. They got calls to show why they removed your child. You also got 2 children removed out your care back to back, and you think the state is getting ready to pay you because you believe both of your children are deceased, or there's testimony that one child was possibly dead, and the adoptive parents were found guilty on the one child, but not the other, which is strange and bizarre. The state is never going to pay you. Because what you have to ask yourself is the obvious. All these people coming forward wanting to sue the state of California for 2 little black boys, but where the hell were you all when the children needed a place to live? That's the point. All right. One second, everybody. Thank you all for joining me. Let's do a poll. Let's see what you all have to say about this. All right, everybody, take the poll if you're listening to this live stream. Thank you so much. The state is going to pull up all the mother, Adam and Kayla, dirt. So BioMom needs to rethink about all her dirt being out there and the way people will start looking at her. Well, it probably won't even make it to court, as you probably, I don't know if you followed the West Boys case out in California. It didn't make it to court. Because naturally, everything gets a review. You know, when you bring forward a lawsuit, it gets a review. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay, it's not going to go anywhere. Because that woman lost 2 children a year apart. Okay? And the one thing that nobody wants to focus on with the West Boys case, this lady had 2 other children. They're out here in the universe that she wasn't taking care of, paying child support, visiting, calling, Skyping, Zooming, nothing. But you go land up on court TV, getting all these interviews, and that's the one thing you never hear her talk about were her living children. And a lot of people were like, what are you talking about, her living children? Yeah, her living children. No regard for them. But you weren't about 2 boys who you didn't give a F about when they were living. You even told Vinnie Politan on Court TV, oh yeah, that was that one program I didn't finish, but I know why I didn't do that. Well, you didn't tell Vinnie Politan why you didn't finish it. So see, that's my point. You glazing over why you lost the children back-to-back, 2 babies. You glazing over why you didn't finish one of your courses that was mandated to get the children back. Your children stayed in foster care for at least, 2 or so years before being adopted. But nobody wants to acknowledge that. And you never talk to the news about your living children. Oh yeah, I got 2 other children. Don't even talk about them as if they're irrelevant, because they are. And you only want money for the 2 dead boys for the obvious reason. But you lost them. And then you don't take care of the 2 living children. Now, I haven't heard if she speaks to them now or pays any type of child support, but those parents, those fathers need to make her pay child support. Even if she never wants to see the children interact with the living children, that heifer needs to pay child support. Because why is it? Let the men take care of the children. You're the mother. You don't even try. And you've seen women have loads of kids. They pick and choose which kid they want to keep. You understand? This heifer, they won't keep none. You didn't comply with the rules to get the 2 boys back. And then you had 2 older children over those 2 babies. And you didn't try to get them back, try to get custody, spend time with them, talk to them, love them, hug them, kiss them, Skype, Zoom, video chat, nothing. And I stand on that. I stand on that. Keeping it real. And that's another thing. She's probably still able to bear children, Miss Suri. All right, everybody, calm down now. Let's get the results. Should Crystal receive payment in wrongful death of Harmony? 35% yes, 65% no, 18 votes so far. Hippie says, I don't think she should receive any money. I hope I don't get hate for that. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm sure there are many people who will feel she doesn't deserve any money. That's just common sense. Come on. If you want to take the poll, it's in the chat. I'll let a few more of you take the poll. Should Crystal Surrey receive money for the death of her child? Because so far she hasn't claimed who she's suing, but we can use deduction. She's probably suing Department of Human Services for Massachusetts and New Hampshire because they're both involved, you know, in the inner wranglings of her daughter being placed here, there, wherever. Renee says she doesn't deserve kids either. Well, and as I said, she's still able to bear children. I won't doubt that she probably will have another child. She's had a male come to court with her when she's going to the Adam Montgomery trial. I don't know if that's her boyfriend or her husband, but I won't doubt she could probably try to have children again. See if she can still bear children. I don't know. Some might say, well, she's entitled to do what she wants. It's her body. But the point is she fit to raise children? Because she also had a little boy and she doesn't have that child. That child's been adopted out by a family. So you're not just talking about Harmony Montgomery, you're also talking about another child. So we're talking about 2 children, allegedly. So what about him? Does that family allow her to see him, have any interaction? Is this an open adoption with the family that has the boy child? You know, there are lots of questions to ask, but I just don't feel like she deserves any money from any entity pertaining to Harmony Montgomery. It is a very tragic situation that happened to her. We hear these stories often. I don't know the stats of children who have died in the custody of DHS and adoptions, but I'm sure there are many children who are abused in adoptions, adopted families, and also foster care families. We hear the stories down the road when people come forward to tell you they were abused as a foster child, they were abused by the adoptive parent. I know of a situation here in my region, a couple, they were a biracial couple. She was white, she's white, he's black. And I was talking to the relative recently, you know, some months back, and the lady had mentioned that the son was divorced from the white woman. So I said, oh, okay. And then she mentioned about the daughter, and I had asked about the daughter that they adopted. I said, oh, how's the young girl, the daughter they have? Oh, well, such and such has her now. You know, one of their church members has the daughter. And I thought that was bizarre. You know, a young couple has that daughter. So you two go adopt this biracial kid. Shit goes wrong in your marriage. Don't know what, didn't ask, none of my business. But then you going to go your separate ways, okay? The husband goes his way, the wife goes her way. And the daughter you two adopted together, you both have relinquished rights to the child. And now a neighbor, friend, family member, church member of your mother's church, she and her husband now have that adoptive daughter. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying to you? Do you know how fucked up that looks? And you know people were talking. You know black folks were talking. Shut your mouth. They may not have said it to your face, but they were thinking, wait a minute. You all adopted this girl, knew she came from a jacked up situation, because I heard the situation was really bad with the mother had other children, abusing the children, neglect, whatever situation is. You all took her in as a young girl, like a little bitty girl. Then you two break up, divorce. I'm assuming the little girl would have went with the wife. Here come this man's mama saying, oh no, neither one of them got her. She's living over here across the street with such and such. I said, huh? You know, I didn't try to, want to appear rude, but I was stunned. Why neither one of you would keep the little girl? So guess what? Everybody want to be free. And I won't doubt that maybe the little girl was having some issues, because when I last was talking to a relative of the little girl, she was, getting into stuff, I didn't think it was nothing really major, because you got to remember she's coming out of foster care. So there are going to be some problems, with the kid. But that was like years ago, 4 or 5 years back. I wasn't expecting to hear the little girl is now living with a whole nother family, and she was legally adopted, from my understanding. Not fostered. My understanding, they legally adopted her. And then your marriage breakup, you two say to hell with her, send her over here to Pookieville. And like I said, I don't know if the little girl started acting out, became wayward, if she was the cause of the breakup of the marriage. I don't know. I didn't ask. But I still think it's fucked up that you go send her somewhere else, right in the community where everybody can see her and know that she was over here living with you all. That's what's jacked up. Because I don't think I'd want people to know that. Now, I understand we don't know all the circumstances. Don't know if the little girl became too wayward, too hot for her britches. I don't, because I'm not trying to blame a kid, because she's still a kid. You understand what I'm saying? But it looks bad that you two broke up, divorced, and now the girl is living in a whole other family in the community, and everybody knows that little girl is with these other people from the church members. It's just weird to me. I think I would feel some embarrassment. But like I said, depending on the circumstances, I'm not in their shoes. I don't really know what was going on when they was raising the little girl. I don't know if it was too much to handle her, if it was too much to handle, the woman couldn't handle her by herself, or she just didn't want her. I don't know. I just think it looks strange. That's all. Oh, Lord. Mom, you're killing me. All right, let's look at the poll. Let me see how you all are doing. Has everybody taken the poll? $50 votes. So we got now 50% of you believe she should get the payment. 70% no. Anybody else still want to take the poll? Wow, y'all are killing me. Lady Lolo says, if you adopt, don't you just deal with it? Real life? Well, Lolo, as I told you, I don't know what's going on with anything. I'm just a passenger on the train. And as I said, that I don't even know how to. I don't even know what to say to that. I get your point, though. It's life. You adopted the kid, so you roll with it. You know, like the boy in the box down there in Florida. He honestly believed he was a problem child because he's listening to these people ingrain this in his head. You're a bad kid. You're a bad kid. And hey, he may have been a bad kid because, you know, my thing is, you know, everybody has a different interpretation of bad, wayward. What one person will tolerate, another person won't. I mean, you got some children who I would think are just, you know, out of control, cursing, talking back, sneaking out, doing drugs, stealing, and their parents may not think they're that bad or wayward. See, it depends on your interpretation. But nonetheless, that boy still regarded his family after they locked him in a garage in a box. That shows you what happens to young people when they are brainwashed, they are groomed. Nobody deserves to be locked in a hot-ass cement box in a garage because they are not minding their mother and father. That's not how you deal with children. If you felt like it had to get to the point that you've got to build a room within a room, no bathroom, no sink, he can't roam the house freely, can't talk to friends, family members, it's time to make provisions to send him somewhere. And that's the recommendation for anybody, whether it's your biological child, foster child, adoptive child, you took a child in, when you realize you can no longer mentally and physically take care of the child for whatever reason, you need to seek an alternative. Because abusing children is not the answer because you think the child is wayward. And we have a lot of cruel people out here. Narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths raising children. They don't know how to be level-headed. They don't know how to be objective. They're going off of how they were raised. And if you come from a family of people who didn't show you love, they didn't hug you, they didn't congratulate you, they're beating you up, they're putting their hands on you, they are touching you inappropriately, you are not going to know how to navigate out here and be a decent human, one, and then parent your damn self. Because like somebody said the other day, it's a difference between, you know, having a child and raising a child. Right, you can have a kid, but that don't mean you're raising them. A lot of people have children. I think that was Inyala that said that. Inyala Van Zandt. You got a kid, but are you raising a kid? And like I told you before in my live streams, most of the people I know were raised by somebody else, a grandmother, a auntie, a cousin, whoever. And the people didn't raise the children for whatever reason. You see a lot of that here in the South. A lot of people here in the South have not been raised by their parents. Maybe they were with them a few years or 1 year or, whatever the situation is. They meet back up, they reconcile. But the point is, a lot of people are not raised by their parents. And God forbid, thank God, some didn't have these worst case scenarios such as Harmony. The people that stood in the gap, they took care of them, the best of their ability, and they didn't do these heinous type of acts. But you have people who are just not stable, and they don't know how to navigate properly. And when you realize you can't navigate with a child, as I said, you can't be objective, you don't need a kid. And like I said, you don't really know what it's like to raise a kid until you actually get in that position. Because I'm sure some of these people who abuse their children, they may have thought, I would never hurt a child. I love my kid, or I'm gonna love my kid. But then when they got in it, they saw they weren't doing a good job. And we all make mistakes. And we all are raised differently. We're reared differently. We gain different insight on how to raise children. But I think if you decide in your life that you don't want to raise a child, that is your choice. Nobody has a right to judge you. And I respect the person who will place their child up for adoption or with a family than somebody that'll keep their child and abuse them. Because as Ayana said, just because you got your child does not mean you are appropriate. Does not mean you're the appropriate person to rear your child. Because a lot of people think that, oh, I kept my baby. I ain't give my baby up. I ain't give my baby to the state. I ain't giving to my mama. I ain't giving to my daddy. But you're not really a good parent. You don't do what you need to do for your child. Because as Inyala said, it's more than just buying clothes. Putting them in pretty outfits, feeding them. You got to talk to your kids. Okay? Nurture your children. Love your children. Congratulate your children. Hug your children. That's rearing. Telling your child it's okay, you made a mistake, you're going to fall, dust yourself off, start over tomorrow. Not beating them up, calling them nasty names, talking bad about the other parent, comparing them to the parent. You're not supposed to do that. And what's sad for Harmony, she had 2 drug-addicted parents. That's what's so strange about this story. Probably not really strange, but it is strange because allegedly they didn't have a relationship. I think they just had sex. She got pregnant, and he went on his merry way. Because she was asked during testimony, did you all live together? She said, no, we never lived together. So Adam was incarcerated while she was being carried in the womb. And she was born in June. And I believe he got out that September of 14. So there was no bond because the daughter was put in foster care at 2 months. So that means she was going into foster care while the daddy was coming out of penitentiary. So the child, she didn't have what she needed. It's just terrible. All right, 83 votes. 37% of you believe she should get money. 63% of you said no, she should not. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. Wow. 63% of you said no money for her. Okay. Let's see. I'm 1 hour into this live stream. Thank you so much. Yes. And that's something that I was listening to with Anyala earlier this weekend. Please check out those videos. They're posted to my community page about a man with 34 children. I really would like to talk about that. I might come back on a little bit later and talk about that. But before I check out of here, talking about Harmony Montgomery's mother, once again, she attended court and she's seeking to have the child declare dead, which I think she should, and then she will follow suit with a wrongful death suit. She did not say who she was suing when she attended court today, but I'm going to assume it's probably Department of Human Services times 2, state of Massachusetts and New Hampshire. And I don't know if they will pay. Matter of fact, I'm going to put that as a poll as well before I go to my next subject. Do you think they will pay? How about that? Let's see. See what you all have to say about that. All right, everybody, take this next poll. If Crystal sues Massachusetts and New Hampshire DHS, will they pay her? 1 vote. Come on, you guys. 48 of you in the room. $84 people took the last poll, so come on, take this next poll. Will she sue these 2 Department of Human Services? And if so, will they issue a judgment? Will she win a judgment? Will they pay? Nine votes so far. Hello, Queen Bee. Hello, everybody in the chat. Welcome, new viewers, new subscribers. Welcome to the Vault Excel. Thank you for joining me. And please check out my community page because there are many stories out there that I do not cover. But every blue moon, I'll post an update pertaining to a story that other people may be talking about, and I'll just post an update. So prayers for Sebastian Rogers, who's currently missing out of Tennessee. No new updates. They went into a landfill in Kentucky where his trash is transported from the state of Tennessee into another state, which is Kentucky. Nothing has resulted from that search. I also gave a video pertaining to the family. They've decided to not speak further about the investigation. Why is that? Has the hammer come down on the parents? Are they feeling some type of way about the questions that have been asked by law officials? We learned also last week they were in their backyard taking pictures. Have they dug up anything in the yard? Maybe there's something more to the story. And as I've learned, when they go to landfills, there's usually something that led them there because a landfill is huge. And I don't know how often they, dig and cover up the debris and start all over. But you have to ask yourself, it was 1 week or so into them doing that, of the child missing, that they did that, went to the landfill. So did they go there on a hunch, information, GPS? So you have to ask all those questions. So far, no CCTV footage has caught the child roaming in the neighborhood, coming and going. So where was he last? Parents. Doesn't have any outside friends, only at school, which I find bizarre. A lot of questions. %59% of you said no, states will not pay her, Crystal Surrey. 17 votes, now 18. Let's get those numbers up, everybody. Thank you for joining me. What are you talking about, Lady Lolo? What are you talking about, like why? What are you speaking of? Are you saying why would they unalive the child? Is that what you're asking? I don't know what you're saying. What are you saying, sweetheart? Lolo, are you still there? You ask a question. What are you asking? Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this poll so you all can see the results. 69% of you said you don't believe DHS will pay her. Because I got a feeling that's who she's going to sue. Both states, Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Queen B says, no one should receive a dime for failing an innocent little girl, but Department of Child Protection in every state needs to be overhauled, and it's been at least 40 years overdue. Okay, I agree. Well, that state has said, I believe it was Massachusetts, they're going to work on implementing something. We will see, because I don't know what they will do. But I want to play some content from my network, if I can. Hold on one second, everybody. Pertaining to Sebastian. Sorry about that. Carly Russell. I talked about her yesterday. Not too many people watched that video. Seems like I only get more views when I stream from the phone, which is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But Carly Russell will have a hearing March 21st. Will she plead guilty to the charges? And what will happen? Will she get probation? Will she get prison time? I put a poll up on my community page pertaining to this. And some of you think that she should get just the fines, $18,000 fine, community service. What some of you don't seem to understand, this is serious. She called 911, stating she saw a child walking on the highway and that she was kidnapped. So just imagine, once again, everybody starts calling 911 to say they were kidnapped. They go missing for 2 days, a week, 5 weeks, a month, and then voila, pop up and say, oh, I was kidnapped. A Mexican woman held me hostage, or some white guy with orange hair held me hostage. We know that there are cruel people locked up, sadists that need to be in prison. And some people got, minor charges and maybe don't need to be in prison. But minor stuff, if you keep breaking the law, will add up to bigger stuff. So her lying about this, just imagine what she's capable of. So what is it that a person don't understand about that? Maybe probation isn't for her. Maybe paying a fine is not for her. Maybe she needs to sit in jail with other criminals and realize, damn, I should have never made that 911 call. I should have never stole from my job. I should not have had all these resources wasted. I shouldn't have worried my friends and my family in the community. This is serious. Now, you're entitled to your opinion, but you're talking about helicopters, drones, dogs looking for you. And you're out here dilly-dallying ass around playing reindeer games with the general public and resources. That's serious. And you can't say she learned a lesson. Hasn't even been a year yet, okay? This happened last summer. We're not even at summer yet. So in your mind, you want to say, well, just give her probation. Just give her supervised probation. There's people worse in prison. Well, you don't know what else she could have done or will do if she's not rehabilitated. Because like I said, this is not even a year-old story. And frankly, paying a fine is a slap on the hand, okay? You don't know her. You don't know what her mindset is. You don't know what she will do and not do. You assuming she doesn't get jail time, prison time. She will grow up. She's learned her lesson, or she'll learn her lesson. You don't know her. You don't know if she had help, because I haven't heard where she actually was for 2 days. Now, there were rumors she was in a hotel, seen coming in and out of a hotel. I have not heard that by the chief of police. And I always tell you, I need a receipt. If I didn't hear it from the police, FBI, it's just gossip to me. Because she could have stretched this lie out past 2 days. But that's the detective's job, is to investigate. And they knew once they saw the camera of the highway, they never saw what she said she saw, which was a child walking down the highway. Okay? Your vehicle's the only one pulled over, left blinking lights, flashers on, and then you go off into the woods and get kidnapped by a guy and a female. Just, a bunch of BS. Oh, yeah, hippie, we're noticing that. Should Carly Russell get prison time for the hoax? That is the next poll. Thank you for joining me. I say yes, because I don't trust her. And she has a hard road ahead of her, okay? If she thinks she's getting ready to go out here and have some great, fabulous life, the only way it'd be just fabulous, debt-free, scot-free, is if she hooks up with somebody like Bill Gates, somebody who can take care of her. She don't have to work. She don't have to do anything. Thank you, sweetheart. All right, let's take this next poll, everybody. And I haven't heard anything else from her parents. Take the poll. Should Carly Russell receive prison time for her fake kidnapping hoax that she exacted last summer in Alabama? Take the poll, everybody. For some reason, it's not even showing up. Hold on. Well, hold on. I'm going to have to get out of that one because it's not turning up for some reason. Hold on. Queen says she should be staying in jail. She's inhumane as Adam, as she saw and handled that baby girl's body. She knew a lot from some time. Lift a pinky to save her. Oh, you're talking about Kayla. Okay. Well, we'll put that in the chat too. I'll put up a poll about Kayla here after you all vote on this Carly Russell. Take the poll for Carly Russell, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Well, you got to remember the story about Miss Papini out of California. She pulled the same stunt a few years back. The state of California paid her and her husband $30,000, I believe, from the Victims Fund, the California Victims Fund. They spent that money on, however, paying bills. People found out, judged them. But as I tell people, when you get money from wherever, you're entitled to spend it how you see fit. You can't tell a person how to spend their money. You're only saying that because you found out she had exacted a hoax. But what you have to remember, when they made the payment, allegedly the husband didn't know she had faked the kidnapping hoax. So there's so many things in that story that's just so bizarre. And naturally, you know, they split up and everything. She went to prison. But it was elaborate. And it took years for them to reopen that case, investigate it, and realize she had lied. She was hanging around with some guy she dated many years ago. He was a fool because he had to have known she was missing, was all over the United States news. So he was gullible, I guess. Liked her, wanted it to be something more. It wasn't. She just used him. And when you look at people like that, you have to tell yourself there's something wrong. And what did I tell you last night about Carly Russell? You do not wake up and start lying about things like this. Because to me, a kidnapping hoax, that's deep. Now, I don't disagree with anybody that thinks she needs to be walking the fuck around. Hell no. Because you dialed 911. And as I said before, everybody has been into some type of altercation with a person, something, and called 911 for something. But you lying is different. And I'm sure people do lie. When they have disagreements with people, they go lie, make up stuff and call 911. That's still wrong. But you're talking about saying, there's a child, I'm chasing this child on the interstate, and then poof, disappear, and everybody's looking for you. Your car's sitting on the side of the road. They don't know where you're at. Come on now. Yeah, same thing. Smollett, it's all the same. It's disrespectful. Both of those cases make black folks look bad. Justice Smollett, Carly Russell, it's the same. These are self-serving, self-absorbed people. And as we have heard about killers, serial killers, rapists, usually they are narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, murderers. But a psychopath, sociopath, narcissist does not always make a murderer. Okay? You could have the qualities, but not become a murderer. Okay? And we see a lot of people like this. They're self-absorbed. They're always talking about themselves. They're always bragging about themselves. They're always talking about what they did, where they went, how much they paid for a pair of shoes. You know, just go on and on and on about absolutely nothing. But it don't mean they'd go out here and murder somebody. Okay? They're just, well, some people might say they're just an ass. Okay? But a killer, murderer, serial killer is usually a narcissist, sociopath, or a psychopath. How interesting is that? Carly Russell. I don't trust her. Miss Papini from California. I definitely don't trust that heifer because she wounded herself. Now, they say Carly cut her lip or something, but Papini was doing all kind of things to herself to make it look like she was held in bondage. This is ridiculous. And you want this person to walk around being your neighbor, working at the Piggly Wiggly, teaching your kids, being around your kids, relationships? Hell no. Hell no. And you see the state of California put her ass in prison because that's rightfully where she deserved to be. So with Carly Russell, I say the same. You're not going to learn until you pay the piper. Because let me tell you, as I said, you do not wake up overnight in your 20s, in your 30s, lying. This is extensive pathological lying. We're not talking about a 2-year-old put their hand in a cookie jar and then mommy says, "Did you eat a cookie?" And the 2-year-old says, "No," although there's cookie in their hand and there's cookie around their mouth. See where I'm going? This is not a 2-year-old. This ain't even a 10-year-old lying. We're talking about grown-ass women. And you do not wake up and start spinning these type of lies. You have something wrong with you. And as I said before in my commentary, you have a lot of people who act this way and lie. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. You have psychological defunct people. And Papini won't be the last. Carly Russell won't be the last. Jussie Smollett won't be the last. Because what did I tell you in the video I made last night about people here on social media that follow true crime? A lot of people who are watching true crime comment on the articles, the videos. They are just as whack as the people in the story. I've witnessed it. And you got to remember those same people like Carly Russell. She probably was on YouTube watching videos, commenting. Oh my God, that's so terrible. Oh, I can't believe he did that. And the next thing you know, she's out here spending one of the biggest lies ever known to man. Because we are all random people. We are all random people. Let's see what you have to say on this poll. 77% of you said yes, she should get prison time. 22% of you said no, 45 votes. Lolo says, how do we tell who is scary to me? Well, that's the whole point, Lolo. You don't know people. We are all capable of being deceptive. We're all capable of being liars, manipulators, hustlers, grifters, fornicators, because we're of the flesh. That's the point. You're the flesh. You're going to have bad thoughts. You're going to do bad things. You're going to say bad things. But at some point, you have to own what you've done. You have to acknowledge, yes, I said that. I did that. I have remorse for that. Some people do eventually get remorse. Some people have remorse right after doing something, saying something. And then there's those who say, yeah, I said it and I don't give a fuck. I ain't apologizing. I ain't gonna never apologize. I ain't repenting and I ain't forgiving them. If they did something to me, everybody's different. But the point is, you have to just, yes, be aware of the people you're talking to, the people you're dealing with, the people you're letting in your circle, the circles you go in, because I tell this to people all the time and I'm a living witness because I only speak from experience. When you see the signs that something is off with a person, people, just do due diligence and say, I don't think this is working for me. I don't like the feeling I get when I'm around him or her. They don't take me serious. They don't value my conversation. They don't value my opinion. They talk down to me. They're putting their hands on me. They lie a lot. Whatever it is, remove yourself. Because I think we have a hard time removing ourselves because we think we need these people or we're lonely. We don't want to be alone. It's your family member. Oh, you know, it's my brother, it's my sister. We come from the same mother, father. If it's unhealthy, how is it serving you? You don't have to hate the person. Just remove yourself. And I always say, the sooner you remove yourself, you don't have animosity built up. You don't have hatred built up. Because that's what you don't want. Because as the psychologists love to say, forgiveness is for self. Forgiveness is for you, not for them. Because you don't want to walk around holding all that hate and animosity. And I get that because it is unhealthy. You know, to walk around being bitter and mad all the time and fussing all the time. I know, because I'm a ranter. I can have my moments where I'm just pissed off and everything seems black. You know what I mean? It's like everything goes black to me. Like, I can't see. I got tunnel vision. I can't see over here. I can't see over here. I don't want to hear nothing. I'm pissed off. I'm mad. Don't nobody talk to me. You know what I'm saying? But in the end, that can't be your mantra. That can't be your everything. And some people are fueled, you know, on that being angry, mad, vengeful, and it will affect you one way or the other. And God forbid you act out on the hatred, the animosity. Now that's where you have a problem. I know I was pissed off earlier, you know, because when you around people who are so fucking disrespectful, they don't have respect for you. And the first thing you're thinking to yourself is, hey, what about me? I got feelings too. You know, I'm somebody. I ain't no junk. But others don't view you like that because they don't care. And let me tell you, They like that. They like that. You just don't want to be one of those people. And when I was Googling this story pertaining to Carlee Russell, this article came up, and the thing that struck me was that the guy was like, so many people can be a Carlee Russell. And the first thing I said was, what the hell you mean? I'm not getting ready to go out here and call 911 and pretend to say I saw a kid walking down the street and then say I was kidnapped. What the hell? I'm going to gang by doing that. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I guess they're saying they're ill people. And we are seeing more ill people who, like Carlee Russell, they end up in this predicament. But I still feel like this is a choice. She didn't have to do this. There's a multitude of things she could have done with her emotions. Whatever the hell was wrong with her, whatever drove her to make up that hoax, she didn't have to do that. Okay, let's just be truthful. There's a lot of shit you can get yourself into. Why in the world would you want to go call 911 and make up this wild ass story about a baby on the highway and then say some white man abducted you with orange hair? Come on now. I don't care how bad of a day you're having. You're depressed. You're mad at the world. You feel like don't nobody love you, care about you. You like some motherfucking man that don't want you. You're going to go make up some shit like this to 911 and then get embarrassed to then come forward and say, oh, I made it all up. I'm sorry. I apologize. Come on now. Yes, it was a very crazy case. Look at the trolls. Are they not enjoying themselves in the chat? Shows you they don't have anything better to do with their time. 70 votes. 80% of you believe she should get prison times. Or now 70 votes. We're going up and down. 80% out of 70 votes. Thank you. I want to end the poll. Let me see what I got pertaining to this young man, Mr. Sebastian, missing out of Tennessee. As I told people, if you got information pertaining to that little boy missing, call the authorities. Don't put it in the chat box. Don't put it on the community page. Call the authorities. Please check out my video pertaining to the women who went and stole money out of this man's bank account, their roommate, two Ohio women, drove a dead man to the bank, propped him up in a passenger seat, and debited money out of his account. They have now been arrested. One is facing drug charges. Please go into the YouTube queue and check out that video. It's called Dead Man Driven to Bank by His Roommates. Please check out my last video pertaining to the banning of TikTok. The House of Representatives will be voting on if Biden will ban TikTok. So you like watching TikTok, you might want to pay attention. I don't care about it. I don't care about any of these apps, quite frankly. Let's go into the belly of the beast pertaining to this young boy missing. Sebastian Rogers. What happened to him? I'm going to play a little of that content. Thank you. Well, don't get yourself upset, Lolo, because I don't know what's really going on, but it don't look good.
Let's talk about this kid missing out of Tennessee. Thank you for joining me. The Mirror US is the source. The search for missing 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers recently entered its second week, and authorities seem no closer to locating the teen than they were exactly 1 week and 4 days ago when he went missing. This was uploaded March 8th. Rogers, who's on the autism spectrum, disappeared from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee on February 26th, and since then there have been no signs of the missing teen. As drones, dogs, horses, boats, even helicopters scoured the area alongside residents in search of the boy. This week, the search reportedly took investigators to Kentucky to search a landfill, the same one where trash from Rodgers' home was taken, in the hopes that they might find him or his body at the site. Local station WKRN2 reported. But what exactly led investigators to the site? And what have they tried so far in the desperate hunt for young Rodgers? Here's everything to know about the search as hope wanes in the second week. And this is a photo of the area at the landfill in Kentucky. Lots of places to hide. Hendersonville, Tennessee, where Rodgers lives, is a small city about 17 miles northeast of Nashville. It's littered with creeks, streams, and is nestled among the Cumberland River. Residents were told to look out for Rodgers in any of the bodies of water, many of which are on residential properties, in case he fell in one or decided to take a swim. There are also some bridges in the area that he could potentially get lost under, and the city itself isn't too far from lots of wooded areas in Tennessee and nearby Kentucky, where it is believed Rodgers may have ventured. One report said he may have gone as far as Clarksville, a city about 54 miles northwest of Hendersonville, and that region has caves. The landfill the authorities searched on Thursday is located in White Plains, Kentucky, about 100 miles northwest of Hendersonville. The search radius has been massive as crews are said to have searched over 1,000 square miles, bringing in the cavalry to search for the missing teen. Given the number of places he could be and the fact that it's unknown how far he traveled, the authorities brought in everything at their disposal, from dogs and horses by which to search for Rodgers on foot to drones and helicopters by which to search larger swaths of land from above. Boat teams were also deployed to search the aforementioned bodies of water, but so far the search hasn't yielded anything. There hasn't been a single sighting of Rodgers since he went missing. Photograph of the young teen. Where is this boy child? Ken Wagner, the director.
Gonna interrupt. Well, Lolo, their trash goes to that Kentucky landfill, so that's why police allegedly were checking that landfill. Okay? Now, always remember, police do not have to tell you what they've learned in investigation, what was told to them. So for all we know, it's deeper than just trying to narrow down places that the child could have wandered off. You already know he didn't wander to Kentucky, okay? He's not seen on CCTV footage in the neighborhood. So for all we know, they've gathered information, GPS, of him being maybe discarded somewhere. So let's go check this landfill. I don't know. I can't say.
Director of the Sumner County Emergency Management Agency told local WKRN2 that a group came from the eastern portion of the state to search the region's caves, dubbing them all mountainous experts. He said, so any cave that we've marked, we've had them in those caves. Members of the Tennessee National Guard were also mobilized and were seen knocking on doors in the area to search for the boy and also to raise awareness for the disappearance in the hopes that more individuals will come forward with new information if they see anything. One thing about Tennessee and the Southeast is that we're always going to have people that want to help. And we've gotten calls from people across the state for people who want to come in and help us, Wagner said. The thing we've got to do is to be able to manage that. So we track everybody that's on the ground. It's great to be able to call in specialized groups that do the things we can't do. It's really good. Using Rodgers' favorite song. According to the teen's family, Rodgers' favorite song is Eye of the Tiger, an 80s song by Survivor. So in the hopes of luring him out of wherever they felt he might be hiding, the authorities blasted the song from the vehicles they deployed in the search. And that is the set information. I guess they have a little bit more. Let's see. Let's see what they got here. Hold on one second. It says here the authorities are desperately searching for more information, including CCTV security footage from February 25th or February 26th that might have captured the boy who was last seen wearing a black jumper, black pants, and glasses. He's 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighs about 120 pounds, and has dirty blonde hair. An Amber Alert as issued for the boy by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, TBI, which began as an endangered child alert for robbers. The morning he went missing, it indicated that there was reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred and the child is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death, according to the Department of Justice. Here's a picture of the boy child and the mother. Almost a week missing. Where is he? Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Law Excel. I came on for line number 3 by accident. I had no plan to come back on, but someone commented to my comment under a YouTube news video a little while ago. And the person said that, they want to have hope that the child is alive, that, but they thought about something the mother said during that interview with the news. She said to the child, "You can come home, you won't be in trouble." I might be paraphrasing a bit. You won't be in trouble. What does that mean exactly? Now, I'm not here to say that he was abducted by a family member, father, because he lives with the mother and her husband. I'm not here to say the parents are involved, the mother and the stepfather. I don't know what happened to the child. I don't know if he ran away. I don't know if he felt threatened, if he just wanted to wander off at that time of the morning. But the problem with me is the obvious. When there is no visual of a child or even a grown-up, that's when I get a little suspicious. Now, could a child be kidnapped by a sadist? Of course. But you still would assume in this day and era of modern technology, CCTV footage, ADT, cameras, so on and so forth, you're going to start to ask questions about that. And you always look at the people who are closest to the victim, because FBI stats show most children are unalive by their parents and their caretakers. So is this a case of a child being hurt, harmed by a parent, mainly the two who are taking care of him, the mother and the husband, stepfather rather? He would not walk away, run away rather. She also mentions why would he walk out? Did he walk out? Because that's an interesting statement. Can't believe he would walk out. So did the child walk out of the door? Run out of the door? Front door, back door? So let's go with the front door. If indeed the child walked out and ran out the front door, you would assume that the neighbors would have seen him on camera, because these are nice looking homes. And I'm just going to use their judgment that somebody next door, 2-3 houses down in either direction, has security cameras. We live in an era of robberies, thefts, home invasions. So I'm going to assume these people want to guard their possessions. Also, you have to ask, does this family have ADT, some type of surveillance cameras, doorbell cameras? Do they have cameras at their house, front of the house, side of the house, alarms? So you have to ask all those questions, because this is how you're going to get to the bottom of what happened to the child. If the child went out that day, where did he go? Who was he with? How long were they gone? Did he actually make it back to the house? No CCTV footage of the child. This is strange to me. Especially living, as I said, in this nice, what you would call middle class or upper middle class neighborhood. somebody would have seen him go out the front door. Now, let's say he went out the back door. Then you have to say which direction he went in. Are there houses in the back of that house that would have CCTV footage on their house to show him wandering, going in any direction? Naturally, they've asked everyone to look at their surveillance cameras, doorbell cameras, to see if they see his description or description of someone that looks like him. So far you haven't heard anything in almost 2 weeks. That is bizarre, especially in this day and time. So at 6 a.m., she goes into the room of the child, the mother, to wake him up for school, but he is not there. So what you have to ask yourself, what did police find in this situation? Door locked, unlocked, any windows ajar? From the inside, anything looks suspicious from the outside? These are all the questions you have to ask pertaining to a person who could have either walked away, been abducted, or foul play. He wouldn't walk away, run away rather. He would not run out, she said. He wouldn't run away. She also said something pivotal, which made me make this video today. You can come home, you won't be in trouble. Did something happen between the child and the mother or the stepfather? Were there words exchanged? Argument, disagreement, he's having a tantrum, combative, what? Good kid. But the mother also said he was stubborn. So
did they have problems with their child? Did the child walk out of the house? If so, why is there no CCTV footage? Has he been acting out? Has he had disagreements with the family, stepfather, mother? And he felt some type of way on this fateful day, Sunday. And he just walked out, ran out, but why no footage? So you have to debunk him walking out, running out, period. Because these are nice homes. I would suspect there is CCTV footage on somebody's house, across the street, diagonal, next door. You don't see him running out, that leaves the back door. Somebody made a comment about a sofa in the back. It doesn't really mean anything about a sofa. Sofa could have been put there for his safety, so he doesn't go out the door. Maybe he's tried going out before, but he also had a dog in the picture, so that would lead him to believe, why would you want to barricade a door? You have to assume they only use the front door to walk a dog. Stay woke. He's a kid. Wouldn't you want him to go outside and play in the backyard? So you have to assess every situation, because as soon as you can make a theory, it can be debunked. It can be debunked. Did he make it home with the family? Could it be the father did pick him up on that Friday and they met the father halfway and picked up the boy child? See, every question can be asked. Somebody questioning, oh, why didn't the father come pick him up that weekend? So basically you're saying what? The father's in on the kidnapping with the parents? With the wife and her husband? Come on now. You don't have proof of nothing. Because one, they've stopped talking. So you have to have proof the child left the house on Friday with the father, the biological father. You got to have proof he brought him back. You got to have proof that this is a conspiracy to kill a child, knock off a child. Father could have came and gotten the child, but they met him somewhere halfway and picked the child up. See, you don't know. Because you have to hear it from either party.
She told him to do something he didn't. Now she lays out that everything was fine that night, everything was kosher, cool. She told him to go to bed. He complied, but got up that morning, 6 a.m., and he was not there. She called the husband, and then they contacted authorities. So backtrack his day. Where did he go? What did he do? Did he even make it home if he went out for that day? What has been described as a jumper, outfit, black, was he actually wearing that? You always have to ask that. So will we find out there's CCTV footage of the child in that actual outfit? If he was out that day with the mother, father, when did the father actually leave for his job? We learned that he travels. What does he do exactly? How long does he stay on the road? If this is foul play, could the father have taken the child somewhere and discarded the child? You have to ask all those questions. Same thing for the mother. If she was last with the child, could she have taken the child somewhere and discarded the child? So if we hear that they went out for the day, will doorbell cameras show the mother returning with the son? Same thing with the father. If it was an outing of 3 people, will there be footage showing the people returning? Move over to Kentucky, landfill search, nothing. Now, my eyebrows always raise when authorities go to landfills, because as you heard with the Quentin Simon case, they went there because the child was discarded in a garbage can. So naturally, we're going to go to a landfill where that dumpster will be dumped. So that's the first thing that came to mind. Same thing with the Camille McKinney case. The suspect told that they dumped the child in a dumpster, so they went to the landfill where that dumpster dumps trash. That's where she was found. So when I heard they went to the landfill in Kentucky, I said something led them there. And actually, the police does not have to tell you they've got any type of information that led them to that location, because they don't have to. But did they go there because of something that they learned? During that interview, the reporter asks about them being eliminated suspects. And the stepfather does not directly answer. He just says that he, she, and the child's biological father are all equally cooperating and giving all information needed to authorities. So he didn't answer the question. So I'm going to ask, have you all been eliminated as suspects in the disappearance of your son, Sebastian Rogers? Sir, ma'am. Did the child run away? Number 1. Did he walk off and wander off and got lost, hurt, fell, or abducted? Kidnapped. No surveillance to say he walked out, wandered off. No mention of a house break-in. No mentioning of friends, associates that came by looking for him, honking horns, getting into a vehicle. And that's where there's a problem. That's a big, big problem. He could have gotten stuck because he likes to hide. Interesting. Makes sense. We live in a very wooded area in these parts, East Tennessee, West Tennessee. Many places a child could have gotten lost, stuck, hurt, fell. Will we find out he wandered off and just succumbed to the elements? Cooperation by the parents. As I said during that interview, he did not directly answer the reporter's question about being eliminated as a suspect. So now we have new information that they have refused to further comment on the disappearance of their son. Why not? Well, one could say they feel ostracized by the public, social media, numerous videos, such as what I'm doing here, and they feel some type of way. You entitled to your opinion of their decision not to speak further, but eventually cooperate. Or it's something else. You don't want to speak anymore because maybe behind closed doors, you feel some type of way with law enforcement about the questions they have asked, about their techniques and their tactics in getting to the bottom of the disappearance of your son. Because you see, you're not going to know everything that goes on in a case until somebody starts to spill the tea. So I'm going to go now at civilian the part that they probably don't like and why they are not speaking to authorities. Are they suspects in the disappearance of Sebastian? And that is why they decided not to further give details about the case, because they don't like the questioning, they don't like the snooping, the fact that they were at the home taking pictures, looking in the yard. Are we hearing anything about digging up of anything? Any type of tools used to go over any loose soil? Because one might get offended. The FBI, TBI comes in with tools going over the lawn. Now the people might feel some type of way, like, okay, wait a minute, why are you in my yard? Why are you using tools and running machines? I didn't do anything. I didn't hurt this kid. But it's their job. So do they feel some type of way because of tactics used by law enforcement, questioning, still coming to the house, talking to neighbors, going through the trash, so on and so forth? But this is the job of law enforcement. It's not to take it personal. Your child is missing. You reported the child missing. It is the job of law officials to try to ascertain what happened to your child. Why have they decided to not further discuss any details with the media? I don't know. But I tell you what will be interesting is if we find out down the road that it's way deeper than I just don't want to talk to the media, but I'm cooperating. Will we find out they have stopped cooperating with law officials and they have acquired an attorney? This happens with many people. Some may say, oh, you must be guilty. You hired a lawyer. Or, as I said, everything's about interpretation. Maybe they're not guilty, but they don't like the line of questioning. They feel some type of way about law officials. Maybe law officials have said something that make these people feel like they are deemed guilty parties. So they go hire an attorney, stop talking to law officials, and let the wranglings go on between an attorney and the police. Will we find out they've hired a lawyer and they are not speaking to law officials? The other parent, does he have a stake in this disappearance? Could it be he wanted his kid all to himself, found a way to get the kid, lure the kid out, or what? Sent somebody to get the kid? I don't know. Just trying to decide what is the truth about this kid. But as I said, when you use deduction and you deal with realism and stats, children are rarely kidnapped, abducted. Children are usually harmed by their own provider, caretaker, parent, sadly, but it is true. So are we talking about a case of a child harmed by his own parents? Because Tennessee is a lone state, vast land, and you can get missing in the blink of the eye here in this state. Let me tell you, you could be disposed right now in plain sight, and nobody would even know you're there until they smelled you. Because I live in East Tennessee, it is mountainous here, and you can get gone and be right under a person's nose. I'm not here to accuse these people or any family members of abduction or harming a child, but the fact that there is cameras to just say, well, we saw him walking in this direction, he was running in this direction, he got in a car sat outside the house. That's bizarre to me. If I'm going to believe no one related to the child is involved, checkmate. So that leaves wandering out the back door, and nobody has any type of camera work at the back of the house. So you have to ask yourself, once again, the layout of the back of the house. Does the back of the house face other houses? And those houses have CCTV footage, and it turned up nothing. Is this a case of a child harmed? Are we looking at people sitting on TV lying about what happened to Sebastian Rogers? Because when you go into YouTube Q, social media, news break, the news itself, articles, it is all you see every day. A child missing, a child harmed, a child abused. Some people knew, didn't say anything. Some people told DHS that they took their time, they investigated, they left the children in the care, or nothing was said or nobody knew. Child goes missing, thousands of excuses of where the child is, and then poof, voila, one day, remains pop up. I pray that that is not the case with this boy child. But when you look at the stats, when you look at the fact they have nothing on camera, I'm very leery. Is this a case of people tired of an autistic child, became disgruntled, disgusted with rearing a child? He became too much to handle. They wanted freedom. Because you see, you hear this type of nonsense a lot with child rearing. The parent becomes disgusted. They get tired of rearing the child. They get tired of fooling with the child. They get tired of taking care of the child. They no longer want to parent, co-parent. They're done. They've checked out. Did these people check out a child rearing? Did the child become too much to handle? He became combative, too much to deal with, rambunctious, wayward. But they're not telling us the truth of what actually was going on behind closed doors. What is the truth? Because the one thing you always have to remember about true crime: his side, her side, and the truth. And everything's based on a version. Because what I tell you does not mean it's the truth. What I put on a report does not have to be the truth, as we learned with the Rebecca Halligan case here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Numerous lies about a 5-year-old girl's death. And one would have to say there had to be the reason for all the lies. Eventually, the 2-year-old shot the child. But a jury said, hell no. You are guilty of reckless homicide. Now, whether they actually believe the 2-year-old did it or the mother did it, the point is, they found her guilty. And that's another thing. When people lie, there's a reason. Are these parents telling the truth about their last dealings with the child? Because now I need to know, when did the father leave for work? Did he go out of town that morning, that afternoon, or that evening? Where does he work? Different locations, truck driving, what are we talking about? Will we hear that this child is unalive and found in entirely different locations, state, different part of Tennessee? Then one's going to ask the ultimate question: how did he get there? And I'm also debunking all this nonsense in this article about Clarksville and all these other places. How in the world would a child on foot get up? Come on now. He would be tired of walking at some point, don't you think? Where is this boy child? Walked away, ran away, succumbed to the elements, kidnapped, or harmed by his caretakers. And like I said, if he was not alive, his remains are revealed, and revealed somewhere else besides Hendersonville, Tennessee, far away. Then we have to ask the ultimate question: who put him there, and how did he get there? You can come home. You are not in trouble. Are these words telling that something did happen in that house? Something sinister. And the mother. What is the truth? Where is Sebastian Rogers? Does somebody know where he can be located? That's my commentary. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $sign again, you can want to my Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for your time. You have been listening to live number 3. Please go to my community board to take the said polls. I will post updates to breaking news and old stories, news stories. Somebody knows what happened to this kid. And it's just a matter of time that the truth will be revealed. Also, I'd like to ask this. What does GPS records show in both vehicles, if we are to believe that there are more than one vehicle in this home, number one? Do they have ADT security system cameras working? If they had cameras, what do we find out? They just so happen to be not working. Stay woke. GPS on all cell phones and devices, including the device of the boy child, if indeed he has a cell phone. If he has a cell phone, was it turned off? And if so, at what time of day? Was it on and working the morning they allegedly disappeared? Stay woke now. Somebody knows. Somebody knows the truth. Thank you for joining me.
All right, that's my video the other day. Feel free to go back to re-listen to that content. Thank you for joining me. You're now listening to the Vault XL. This is a 3-part live pertaining to Harmony Montgomery, the declaration of her death by her mother. She's going to court today. And also she'll be filing a suit, a wrongful death suit against someone. She did not mention that during court. Carly Russell is topic number 2. And I slid in Sebastian Rogers because there's no new update. I wanted to hurry up and knock that out of the park since nobody really watched that last video. Feel free to go back and watch that video. 3-part live. Where is the boy child? Who knows where he is? I haven't heard about CCTV footage of them returning. If they did, then it shows nothing of him going out. Do they have a camera on their house? If so, was it working? These are all the viable questions you have to ask in order to get down to the logistics of this story. It's the only way you can make it make sense is if you ask all the pertinent questions, okay? So I haven't heard anything about, what do you mean I'm muted? I didn't know I was muted. I'm talking to you right here. What are you talking about? Anyway, do they have their own cameras? Okay. Do they have their own cameras? Hold on. I shouldn't be muted. I don't understand what you're saying. Let me check something here. Anyhow, no sound. Yeah, everybody's got to play games. I'm about to end this live, so I don't have time for this nonsense. Anyway, if they have cameras, were they working? Neighbors' cameras show them coming and going. Anything odd, strange? Leaving with the boy. 1 parent leaving, 2 parents leaving, all 3 leaving, all 3 coming back, only 2 coming back without the child. Did the father leave out with the child, unalived him in the house, and then put him in a van, truck, backed up the truck? See, those are all the questions you have to ask. Those are all the questions you have to ask, okay? Where is this boy child? Is he alive, deceased? 2 weeks now, nothing. One would start to believe he's possibly unalive. Because if you have footage showing him return, let's say, then that means he was unalived in his house, bottom line. Unalived by the people who live there, unalived by somebody coming in the house. So if you let somebody in that hurt them, we don't hear that their house was broken into, so that means you unalived your kid, or somebody came in the house and unalived him and walked back out the house. Then you got to ask that question. How did that person get him out of the house? If you're going to say a stranger did it. That's what you have to ask. Hi, Zenobia. Good to see you, honey. So glad to have you join us. Where is the boy child? Who's all involved? Too many people passing rumors and gossip already. I'm not listening to any gossip. I'm just telling you. I'm not listening to any gossip about Sebastian Rogers or any other case. You don't have a receipt. I'm not engaging. Okay? I've had enough of the random storytelling pertaining to missing people, dead people. It is old. And you all have got to stop saying stuff without a receipt. Because as I said in my live stream last night pertaining to wacko ass, stalker ass, true crime junkies, there are gullible people who believe what you type in the chat, what you type under a video, news video. There's people who believe that stuff. Okay? That's the whole point. So if you're putting stuff out here that you don't have no receipt to, stop it. Just stop it. I only go by what the news says. And once again, as I said, everything is still a version. Whether it's told to the TBI, FBI, police, the news, that's still somebody's version. But I'm going to bank on that versus he said, she said in a fucking chat. I don't work like that. And I'm not entertaining it. Because as I said in that video last night, every time you ask somebody to bring a receipt, they can't provide it. Where'd you hear it? I don't know. Who told it to you? I don't know. I heard it on somebody's YouTube channel. That doesn't mean anything. That's just somebody speaking. Bring a receipt. I want to see content. They came home with or without the child. And you would think after all the news reports here of late, I don't hear anybody even saying that. Well, we do have them going in the house at 6:30, 5:30. We have them leaving the house 2 o'clock, 1:30. Do you see where I'm going? Wouldn't that make sense? Yeah, I'm just as weird as you listening to this live stream that you don't have nothing to do with. Find your ass something to do now. Seriously. Why won't the news just say, we don't have any CCTV footage of the child wandering about, leaving the house, but we do have the parents leaving with the child. We have them returning with the child. Or we have them leaving with the child, but they came back and we didn't see the child. That makes more sense to me to say that. What's the harm? Because when you say, well, we don't have no CCTV footage of him wandering about, then that's going to make us wonder, well, then they left with him allegedly. So do you not have that? Do you not have him leaving the house? Then just say it. Or they're hinting at, we ain't got shit. So if they're hinting they don't got nothing, then where are you all getting that they came home with him? I'm just trying to understand. That's my point. Because it can't be both. You can't say they were coming and going and we got cameras. and then they flip it and say, well, we don't got nothing of him walking around. Well, you do got something, but you ain't got this. Then just say that. We got this, but we don't have that. That's it. I know. You're depressing me too. Life's a bitch. Where is the child? Who knows where he can be found, located? Is he alive? You hear the authorities say they're hoping that he's alive. They're not betting that he's not alive. But we already know the first 48 hours of an investigation, it is critical. First 48. And you're banking on GPS, CCTV footage. Where is the child? Okay. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, Real. I want to hear it on the news. I want to hear somebody saying, you know, we saw him leave. He did leave with the parents. Everything, I don't hear that. Now, maybe it's out there, but I haven't heard it. That's all I'm saying. I haven't heard it. So, if it's true he made it home, then you can use deduction. He was transported either alive or deceased from his house. Okay? That's it. I want to thank you for joining me. God bless you. 3-part live stream. Check my community page for said updates. I have a movie suggestion of the week playing on Tubi called The Stepdaughter. Very, very good. I stayed up late watching it this morning. I'm trying to find single black female that's on Lifetime because I don't have the Lifetime app. I have it, but you have to pay for that to get the movies because I'm in transition right now, so I'm not getting any new apps to watch any programs on, but I'm trying my best to find the original single black female. Part 2 is in the YouTube queue, but I don't want to watch part 2 until I see part 1. So I'm trying my best to find part 1. But my movie of the week is Stepdaughter, now playing on Tubi. Please check my community page if you want to watch the trailer to decide if you want to watch it. Okay, thank you, sweetheart. I'll check it out. Go to my community page for said updates, polls, and also any breaking news. I will decide if I want to continue talking about this Sebastian story. But as I said in my live stream last night, I see where all these true crime stories end up. It's just a bunch of people making up stuff, and I'm not engaging in that. I've made this clear in talking about Summer Wells, the West Boys, all of that. You don't have a receipt. I'm not engaging. That's just me. It's not. I'm not here to offend you, but I'm not doing that. I don't do what other YouTubers do. They run with anything said. They run with anything somebody sends them in an email or a text message. I don't do that type of shit because it's disrespectful, first of all. And I made that mistake in assuming somebody murdered somebody in a news story 2 years ago. The woman down in Georgia who was found in the woods, burned up or whatever. Find out she allegedly did that to herself. And many of us thought her daughter was involved because her daughter was a drug addict. She was fighting all the time with her boyfriend. She had just got into town. But this is why you can't assume somebody killed somebody, unalived somebody, got somebody missing until you have all the facts. The only story I put my stamp on that the parents are involved is Summer Wells. That's the one story I'm going to claim I do believe the parents have involvement. But any other news story, I like to wait to hear what I can hear. Right now, the Sebastian story, it doesn't sound good. It sounds very bad. And as time goes by, it makes me think he may not be alive. Only because we're at week 2 and authorities are saying they don't have anything visually. Now, if they had something to say, we saw him walking down the street and he disappeared, then I might think, okay, he wandered off in the woods, fell out, passed out, got cold or something, but nothing to show him walking. I have a problem. No car pulling up, picking him up, dragging him into the car, nothing to show him getting in a car, him walking with some other kids or a neighbor or a strange figure. I'm going to bet on the address where he stayed. And that's that. You all have a wonderful week. Once again, movie of the week is The Stepdaughter, playing on Tubi. Check your Tubi app if you'd like to watch it on Roku. And once again, prayers for Sebastian Rogers that he is found safe and return to a safe environment, because you have to be very careful what you pray about. And I tell people that all the time when you're talking about children. You have to be very careful what you claim in prayer. Because a lot of people say, I want them returned home. Well, I don't know his parents and I don't know his family. So what I pray for is he's found alive, safe, and returned to a safe environment, wherever that may be. Hello, Jason. You all have a wonderful week. You've been listening to The Vault Excel. Thank you for joining me.